Oh no. I just came in, I got myself a water before bed, and I realized I looked in the fridge and I was thinking I'm gonna wait till I go see my dad again on Wednesday and stop at one of the grocery stores and bring food back because there's let me say there's none of my comfort food places that I'm comfortable as a neurodivergent person who has like habits with going to anywhere like the closest like Whole Foods or Sprouts or Trader Joe's is in Fresno, which is 70 miles away. And here, there's small markets. There are, like, if I were to go into Lemoore or if I were to go into maybe Hanford, there'd be like the Mexican markets, which might be good. I noticed there's an Asian market in Lemoore, but there's just certain like things I want, like my yogurt and the things I eat regularly because I eat like the same things for breakfast basically. Um, mm. And I'm looking and I'm like, do I have food for tomorrow? I think I barely have food for tomorrow, and then I better get groceries on Wednesday. I need to also do that because I need to get the stuff that my dad eats. God, this is hard. It's just hard. And I swear, if my mom goes to her appointment in the morning and comes back and starts knocking on the door or calling me when I've what the hell? When I've expressly asked her not to repeatedly, I told her I don't need her to water because I already watered. I've told her I'm probably going to sleep in and then like get to all of these tasks and then I have appointments. And what does she do? She says she's going to stop by. Like, she won't let me come over to her house and come in and visit. She won't come in here to visit. She'll come by and talk to me from the porch here. And I know she's wanted me to come by and visit outside in her yard probably while I've been here, but because of all the stuff I'm having to do, I have not been able to do that. And once dad is home and like in his routine and everything, I can go up and say hi and sit out in her hot yard and dog to her. I can do that then. But again, the micromanaging, controlling, mom has no life and she's really happy having no life or just like having her simple um, hermetic life. But then when she wants me, she wants all of me when she wants me, and she just is all consuming. And, I've just really realized how intensely I need my independence and my solitude. And I'm just like, I mean, I've got very little, pretty much nothing done for myself the entire time I've been here. And, it might be nice. It's not going to happen, but it might have been nice to have one day before my dad comes home to just have some time to myself completely. That would be great. And tomorrow is probably the closest I can get to that, even though there's stuff I've really got to do. Like I literally don't need to talk in person to anybody tomorrow. I need to make some phone calls, but I'm just really I'm resenting this. I'm still just feeling like, what is the point? Like, because I'm not doing it for the karma points. I'm just doing it because it's the right thing to do and because I want to and I care and it's just how I'm wired. Um, but I just don't see the point of why I'm like that little toy and I looked for a animated bit or something of this and I couldn't find any illustration. But you know what I'm talking about? When you take the wind up toy or the motorized toy and you purposefully let it run into a wall and then you're amused because it still just keeps trying to go forward because it's not sentient, so it can't figure out how to go around. Like, Roombas have done this. Roombas get stuck and people think it's hilarious. I feel like that. I feel like, I'm a toy that somebody has picked up, wound up, shoved against a wall, and just been thought it was hilarious because I couldn't figure out how to get through it. And then they put me against another wall. They let me run around for a little bit, and then they put me against another wall. And like, I started out as this extremely talented kid. I was not diagnosed until I was an adult. But now I know, and there was so much trauma. I got diagnosed with CPTSD first. Um, and then the AUADHD, the neurodivergence. I when you're younger, I saw a psychiatrist talking about it as like filling up a hard drive. And so you like use that space, use that space, use that space, and you get by on how smart and clever you are, and maybe how entertaining you are, and you're really talented. That was me. And I was like smart. I was able to just skate through school. I got away with a lot of stuff because I was so smart. I was ridiculed and bullied and because I was so weird, but like teachers loved me. And it wasn't until I got into college that I started having trouble because the structure, I wasn't able to handle it. And I couldn't just sail by on smarts and stuff anymore. And I had lots of jobs because they were interesting, but also I couldn't handle just working one job that was like the same boring thing all the time. And I just had failure thriving. I had trouble paying rent. I had trouble doing all the stuff that other people do. And it just got worse and worse the older I got. And as other disabilities started to come in and build up, and the trauma started building up, it became harder. But when I was younger, I had so much hope and I had so many dreams. I had all these experiences that, I was extremely talented singer. I made a living singing. I wrote, I did poetry. I did art. I was involved in all of these things that were great. And that kind of like continued, probably when I was in, my mid to late 40s, when I was really in the trauma, is when I just started really crashing and burning and became, by the time the pandemic came around, I just didn't have the money anyway, and I didn't have the energy anyway to go out and do all those things anymore. And I was no longer like this hot commodity, and I just became less and less interesting to people. And I became a frustrated artist because as the trauma and as the crises increased, which is not due to my disability necessarily, a lot of it's due to poverty, because I became less able to skate by and take care of myself. I have no savings. I'm on disability. I have a fixed income. Couldn't choose where I lived. It was always something. And I just, of course, I don't go out anymore. I don't do art anymore. I can't focus enough to write consistently. It's all I want to do is do creative stuff and help my friends and see, where I could volunteer my time, but nothing's stable, so I can't. And it's really been an eye opener. Um, and it's really a shame. So when I say, I mean, a common thing that gets said to kids with ADHD is you're not living up to your potential. And that's really irritating. But I personally know what my potential is. I know what I've been capable of doing in the past. I know what I want to do in the future. I know how talented I am. I know how much I have to give and to offer. And yet I can't do it because I'm homeless. And and I know, before you come at me with your positivity bullshit, like, one, I'm not going to compare. It's not an Olympics. I know there's people who had even more trauma than I have. And I know that there's people who are profoundly suffering who've had way less. If you looked at, like, really, that's all you're upset about? Because people experience things differently. People are different as far as the resilience. So yeah, you cannot compare. And I, yes, have gratitude, and I still do see positivity in things, and I know I complain a lot, but I'm complaining because I'm at the end of my rope and nobody's hearing me. Nobody's hearing me. Nobody's sending me a lifetime. Maybe nobody has a lifeline. The people who are, you know, who could give me a lifeline. I mean, I know my dad could give me a lifeline. There's been multiple times that he could have been the one to be like, okay, let's get you some stable housing. I have seen so many like heart-wrenching stories of parents who are like disabled or elderly that are doing like really hard jobs, or maybe jobs that are embarrassing and things. They're like really terrified that their disabled child is, when they die, isn't going to have a home, so they're like trying to earn them a house. I've seen so many things like that, like, and my parents just don't have that. I mean, I don't know. I expect at some point mom will leave me her house because she wants me to take care of her cats. My dad isn't gonna leave me anything. It doesn't really matter what I do for him. That's what I do for him is not getting me anything because I'm not getting anything. And he will help strangers rather than help me. That is a hard pill to swallow because I didn't do anything offensive, other than maybe hurt his feelings once or twice, by not being Christian enough or being Christian. by, taking a break for him when I needed to, which he explained to me that he totally understood when he like tried to apologize for me for things that happened. And yet he still like, I just cannot imagine, unless you had a child who was a psychopath, a crack addict, a, abusive, person, like, a murderer or whatever. Like, I can't imagine you not wanting to leave this earth, making sure that your child was taken care of if there was any way you could do it. Like, if you had a house to leave them, if you had money to leave them, if you had a car to leave them, that you would not put your offspring or adopted children first. Like, I don't understand that. I haven't given them any problems, and it's just really hard. And I cannot speak to him about this. It's inappropriate. I just have to eat the poison. I have to eat his sin and love him anyway, right? That's how I feel. And I am firmly a person who does not, does not believe that forgiveness is an obligation, that it's necessary or anything like that. This is anything but forgiveness. This is just about doing the right thing, because I don't think it's right. It's like when I say I feel like if he could make a difference for me, that he should, that's what I'm doing for him. I'm not doing it with money. I'm doing it with my time and my life. And I am putting my trying to save myself on hold because he's important to me. It's a really weird, complicated thing. And I think it's going to take me years to process all of this. Fuck. I am going to try to sleep. And I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to get food without driving 70 miles, I guess. Or waiting a day to drive 70 miles. Yay. Time management skills. Activate.